Now, now let's discuss the use of the attendance taker. For this purpose, you're going to be pretty much in the daily attendance sheet. Let's talk about the moving parts. Right here, we have the name box. You can write names in there, but there's already a drop-down box that's linked to the list, to the roster. You could pick any name you like. If you have pictures, the pictures will appear as well. This box right here, the one with the check mark, it toggles between a check mark if you double click on it, basically X mark, which is for not present, and exclamation mark, which is for excused absence, and back to present. And please don't write any values in there yourself. And these two, they get updated when the student changes. It counts the total number of days the students have been absent or had an excused absence, but you don't need to do anything there yourself. Right here is the date column for which you're going to enter attendance. You can either pick an existing date. By default, I already put January 1, 1900, because the way I set it up, I have to have at least one date entered. We're going to delete that later. You can enter a new date. Suppose I want to enter the data for January 17th, 1/17, and all I have to do is click this button that says Add New Date. If you go to the attendance book, we're going to see that new date has been entered. Now I have more than 2 dates. I can actually delete that unnecessary date. Click on this little box under Date to Delete. Again, there's a drop box that's linked to the number of available dates. Select the date that you don't want and delete the selected date. Yes, I am sure. Okay. If this box is empty and you're trying to delete something, it's not going to be there. Or if there is only one date left, it's not going to allow you to delete either. Now, in terms of picking a date that's available, just pick that one. If you are going to enter today's date as a new date, just click on today and click on Add New Date. Now I have 2 dates. Suppose I'm going to enter the attendance for January 17th. I'm going to go back to my beginning of the list. When you're doing this in class, obviously you start at the beginning, and if you click on this red arrow, that's basically going to record the current attendance status of this student. In this case, it happens to be present, and move to the next student. As soon as it moves to the next student, or as soon as this name cell changes, the count for absent days and excused days will also be updated. At this point, they're all zeros. I want this student to be not present today, and these are all present students, and this student was excused that day. As you can see, once you move to the next student, the status automatically reverts to present. That way, you only have to do something about when a student is absent with or without excuse. And I'm Let me see. Let's go to the last student. Once you click on select next for the last student, the list is going to be going back to the beginning right here. And somehow later you want to change the status for one of the students. Let's see. Let's say, let me see, someone not present. Okay, Applegate. Later on he told me that he was excused that day, so I'm gonna change that to excused. Pick that student manually, and I'm gonna change the status by hitting this blue button. Record this student only. Okay, and if you want to make other changes, pick this student, and I want to make her present, or I want to make her absent. Record that student only. Again, anytime the name box changes, as you can see, the count for excused and absent do change. By the way, if this pick date is blank, this red arrow acts just as going to the next student. So let me go back to first. But it actually does not do any recording. You're only going through record of the students. And I'm done with that date. So next I'm going to pick today. I'll go back to the beginning and record the attendance. So arbitrarily making them absent on that. Here, back to the beginning, and pretty much done with that. Again, if you want to check manually, you could, or you just want to go through, you just want to look at their number, just make sure pick date is pick date is empty. Either I can manually pick and see the status of a student, or I could simply, go down the list using the red arrow. When the date is empty, pick date is empty, this is just toggling through the list. Apparently Gopala was absent 1 day, Paul was absent 2 days, Esther was absent but he was excused that day. Same with Humble Zachary. So on and so forth. And if you want to delete any given date, just pick that date and delete it. If you want to make wholesale changes, you can always go back to the attendance book and make your changes yourself manually. That is entirely up to you. One thing about this sheet, daily attendance, the sheet is protected except for the cells that you need to enter something. The name cell is unprotected. The status cell is unprotected. or the double click for the status. Pick date cell is unprotected. Date to delete is unprotected. And these two are also unprotected as well. But you can't do anything for the rest of it. You can't delete columns, rows, format any cells or anything. I did this to make sure that you did not inadvertently change the structure, because a lot of things in the macros behind this depend on that structure. And please do not change the names of the sheets. Macros work with those names. And do not change the tags associated with a given cell. For example, this cell, if you look at the name box here, it's named student box, student name. If you change that into something else, then macros are not going to work. And that's about it.